Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking an absolutely incredible journey, and we are heading straight down into the Earth. We're going to explore everything from the very real, multi-billion-dollar Cold War fortresses built deep underground to preserve human leadership, straight down into the darkest, most fascinating, fringe theories of a secret subterranean world. So hold on tight, because what's beneath our feet is literally mind-blowing. Okay, let's dive into this with a little bit of humor. So in a recent Reddit thread, people were debating this hypothetical all-out battle royale between Idaho counties. And one user hilariously claimed victory for Jefferson County simply because the locals have, quote, big bunker energy. Now, while everyday survivalists stockpiling canned goods in their root cellars is one thing, the reality is that during the nuclear age, the United States government took that exact bunker energy to a multi-billion-dollar extreme. Let's start right at the surface. Section 1. The reality of doomsday bunkers. To really wrap our heads around the lore of deep underground military bases, or DUMBs as they're often called, we've got to use the iceberg approach. Here is the actual declassified map of the primary fortresses built to ensure the US government survives complete nuclear annihilation. And let me be clear, these aren't science fiction. These are fully functional, incredibly complex, subterranean cities. Let's look closer at the most famous one on this list, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, the Combat Operations Center for NORAD. So the absolutely crucial point of Cheyenne Mountain's engineering revolves around this one number, 1,300. Built deep into solid granite, this facility is not just some hollowed-out cave. Inside, there are 15 freestanding three-story buildings. And get this, these buildings rest on more than 1,300 massive steel springs, with each one weighing about 1,000 pounds. This brilliantly allows the entire underground city to bounce independently of the surrounding rock. It's basically a spring-loaded city designed to absorb the shock of a direct nuclear strike or a massive earthquake without shattering. And that brings us to another stroke of engineering genius at Cheyenne Mountain. Now, you'd probably think you'd just bore a tunnel straight into the rock and slap a massive door at the front, right? Well, actually, no. The main entrance tunnel is specifically curved. The idea is that if a nuclear shockwave enters, the energy blows straight through to the other side of the mountain rather than hitting the 25-ton blast doors head-on. Those doors are actually positioned perpendicular to the tunnel to avoid the brunt of the force, and they are so perfectly balanced that if the hydraulic power fails, just 2 people can manually push them shut in under a minute. Absolutely wild. Let's move to our next facility and see how this builds out the civilian side of things. If Cheyenne is for the military, Mount Weather in Virginia is the civilian continuity of government hub run by FEMA. If DC is wiped out, this is where the executive branch goes. This place is an underground metropolis covering over 600,000 square feet. We're talking its own internal street grid, a hospital, walk-in freezers that double as morgues, and a crematorium. It even has a fallback radio network called FNARS to broadcast presidential messages if the entire grid goes down. Amazingly, its existence was kept completely classified until December 1974. A tragic TWA passenger jet crashed right into the mountain, accidentally blowing the lid off the government's secret when heavily armed guards suddenly emerged from the woods. Decades later, on September 11, 2001, this exact facility was actively used to evacuate congressional leadership. That covers the civilian side, but what about the military leadership? Moving on to Section 2, the Underground Pentagon. Welcome to Raven Rock. Located right near the Maryland-Pennsylvania border, this, also known as Site R, is essentially the alternate Pentagon. If the actual Pentagon is destroyed, the Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff relocate here. Greenlit by President Harry Truman back in 1950, locals actually nicknamed the massive excavation Harry's Hole because the blasting could be felt for miles around. Sitting half a mile inside the mountain, past 2 sets of 34-ton blast doors, is a 700,000 square foot complex that can sustain up to 5,000 personnel. It has immense EMP shielding, reportedly its very own subterranean Starbucks, and famously, Vice President Dick Cheney was evacuated straight here on 9/11. All right, Section 3, hiding under luxury. What if you don't have a remote mountain to dig into? Enter Project Greek Island. You guys, this is the ultimate proof that the government can build massive underground bases right under our noses. Commissioned by the Eisenhower administration in 1958, this was the designated fallout shelter for all 535 members of Congress, and it was built directly underneath the Greenbrier, a world-famous ultra-luxury resort in West Virginia. To pull off this 30-year cover-up, they disguised the bunker as a hotel expansion called the West Virginia Wing. They even used a dummy company called Forsyth Associates, posing as in-house TV repairmen. In reality, they were undercover government agents maintaining diesel generators and rotating food rations. They had a fake TV studio with painted Capitol backdrops to trick the public into thinking the government was still in D.C. And my favorite detail? The 25-ton blast door was literally hidden behind the hotel's floral wallpaper. It's just a stunning contrast. You've got luxury resort guests sipping cocktails above, and metal bunk beds and a pathological waste incinerator sitting right below them. Section 4. Real Subterranean Nuclear Engineering. Before we descend completely into the fringe lore, let's ground ourselves in the actual blueprints. What you're looking at here is an actual declassified schematic from a conceptual safety design report from the Idaho National Laboratory. It details a remote-handled low-level waste disposal facility. This perfectly illustrates the serious defense-in-depth engineering used for subterranean nuclear storage. You can see this massive array of precast concrete vaults laid out beneath the surface to provide immense shielding. And to put that into perspective, we contrast the initial placement of these massive concrete pipes with the completed foundation layout. Just look at the scale of this. The facility requires a gravel leveling base, sand fill, and most importantly, massive 5-foot-thick concrete shield plugs. These plugs are absolutely crucial safety components designed to protect surface workers from lethal radiation. This is real, verifiable subterranean nuclear engineering at work. Okay, buckle up. Section 5. Descending into the fringe. Now that we've firmly established the reality of government engineering, let's explore the deep conspiracy lore. This is the provocative question that conspiracy researchers have been asking for decades. I mean, think about it. If the government can hide a massive congressional bunker under a luxury hotel for 30 years using fake TV repairmen, what else is beneath our feet? Which brings us straight into the rumors of deep underground military bases. And you really can't talk about DUMBs without bringing up the infamous Dulce base. According to deep conspiracy lore, buried beneath Archuleta Mesa in New Mexico is a sprawling 7-level subterranean facility. But unlike Mount Weather, the rumors claim this is a joint base operated by the shadow government alongside extraterrestrials, specifically greys and reptilians, conducting genetic manipulation in the deepest sectors. But logically, how do you connect an underground empire like that? You can't exactly use standard drills. The excavated dirt would be easily spotted by satellites in a heartbeat. Well, enter the subterrane. Based on actual patents filed by the Los Alamos National Laboratory in the 1970s, the subterrane is a conceptual nuclear-powered tunnel boring machine. So instead of grinding the rock, a compact nuclear reactor heats the drill head to thousands of degrees, literally melting the Earth's crust. As it moves, the molten rock cools into a perfectly smooth, glass-lined tunnel, leaving no debris behind. Theorists claim the shadow government perfected this tech decades ago to build a continent-spanning vacuum tube network for maglev trains traveling at supersonic speeds between these hidden bases. Section 6. Global hubs and black budgets. Because this obsession with subterranean empires isn't just an American phenomenon. Let's do a really quick tour of the globe. Over in Russia, you have Yamantau Mountain, which is a highly classified complex rumored to be the size of the Washington, D.C. Beltway, designed to house up to 60,000 officials. In Australia, there's Pine Gap, a joint U.S.-Australian satellite facility that whistleblowers claim extends miles underground. People often call it the Area 51 of the Southern Hemisphere. And then there's the underground Great Wall of China. Now, this one is entirely real and officially acknowledged. It's a vast 3,000-mile-long network of deep tunnels, explicitly built to hide and transport mobile nuclear missiles so they can survive a first strike. So the big question is, how does anyone pay for all of this? Well, conspiracy researchers point to the black budget, the missing trillions from Pentagon ledgers allegedly siphoned right into special access programs. Whether it's the brilliant, spring-loaded reality of Cheyenne Mountain or the wild glass-lined tunnels of the subterranean world is absolutely captivating. So what should you take away from this explainer? I'll leave you with this final thought. If they could completely hide a multi-story nuclear fortress beneath a bustling luxury resort for 3 decades, what else is humming quietly, miles beneath our feet right now? Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.